Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is the 15th. Yesterday was a total dumpster fire. Actually, it wasn't a dumpster fire. It was even worse than that. Let me show you. Do the charts. Man, look at that. Okay, so I just want to know, we have recovered quite a bit from yesterday. But yesterday, making pretty good move up, and then it just kind of flipped. And I totally bungled that one yesterday because I just did not get the flip. It seems like the key moment was when Kumo was saying, oh yeah, we're probably going to lock down again. I think the reason why I'm confused is I'm like, you guys didn't realize that was going to happen? Like we've known this for months now. Like, how do you not? Anyways, I don't get it. Apparently everybody thought everything was hunky-dory, but good morning, Win. How's it going? Anyways, it was a pretty good move down. But here's the thing. It was very orderly, I felt. When I was looking at that, I was not looking at that like, oh man, this is like a out of control train careening down the hill and what's going to happen. And I thought that it was fairly orderly, and there was kind of some moves on low volume, and they just kind of went. And especially in the treasuries, they moved up, and then it was like, okay, like this is the new value and we're all good with it. Here's the treasuries. So you can see overnight, it's pretty much just hung around that same spot. Came back a little bit because the E-mini bid up, but only came back a little bit. Oil, I think, is under some slightly different dynamics because they're still reacting to like the OPEC oil report. Same here with copper. Copper is kind of moving around because there's still like this issue with a mine in Bolivia and a strike. So, and then gold just like all over the place yesterday. Pretty ugly down move here after that recovered, but now here in the overnight, much higher. And where is the dollar? Dollar. Well, dollar is still higher than its low of yesterday, but it didn't spike too hard yesterday. And that's another thing that I find a little interesting is that we saw the treasuries bid, but not like huge. So I'm not 100% sure where all the money went. Maybe it went overseas. I don't know. But very clear. I mean, we come back over here and look at like the daily charts. I don't know. Maybe that's just a pullback. What do I know? Yesterday actually did end up being a slightly up day because, it was a gap up. So. Oh, that's NQ. That's why I need to rename this. I did rename it, but I need to put in instrument up. I forget the thing that you're supposed to put. Anyways, this one. Okay, this one you can see kind of some distribution here. That's like it came off and now they're distributing, but NQ obviously just looks like a pullback, so whatever. How are you guys? Okay, so we do get news in 3 minutes. What do we get? Import-export prices, and New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. So what are we looking for? We're looking for import-export prices reading of spot 3 versus a previous reading of spot 2. And the Empire State Manufacturing Index, we're looking for a reading of 6.9. So, Kamer in Discord saying that the gold had a really nice rally after hours. Yes, they did. Not a whole lot of activity in Discord tonight. I love it. Oh my gosh. It's correlation versus causation. Yeah. I love it. That is great. No, I need to make our light a little bit brighter here. Probably, frankly, still dark. Let's see. That's a little better. Okay, well, in other news, I am effing tired. So last night I go to bed, and I'm pretty much asleep, and then my wife comes in, and that wakes the baby up, and the baby decides that it's playtime, and he just crawls around us for like 2 hours. So, yeah. I did not get a good night's rest at all. So I'm going to stick to yesterday. All those trades that I took were actually on my experimental accounts, luckily. But, I mean, you know, we'll try a couple. Maybe if I start doing well, I'll switch over. But I intend, since I'm feeling so tired, to just stay on the sim. Export prices higher than forecast. Spot 6 versus spot 3, and import prices spot 1 versus spot 3. New York Empire State Manufacturing Index 4.9 versus an expected 6.9. Well, that is an interesting set of numbers. I actually think that the numbers that we just got there are slightly bearish, but look, the equity markets don't seem to care. How are you feeling today? No, I never. After that, I didn't feel anything. As I was saying, I'm, given the way that it was and everything, I'm pretty sure that it was an odd Strateris spell. So, Strateris weird drug, and sometimes you can get some odd behavior from it. So, especially if you like don't eat food or you don't eat the right food. Bloomberg tweets, as 2021 years, many on Wall Street are bracing for unfamiliar territory, a year when technology companies may not be the stock market standouts. Yeah, it's going to be weird, isn't it? Well, that's interesting. The Treasury downtick. Oh, there were something's. I don't think it's the Treasury that's moving. Is it? Gold is going a little bit. Well, maybe it's just the 5-year is the one that's driving them. Do you see how easily that pulls? That ticks down. And the 30-year on its lows too. Both sides of this pulling. Huh. So market maker's not really wanting to hold it at the moment. Although it does look tilted slightly to the downside. And I mean, the trend has been. Okay. Well, that wasn't too bad, but it does tick back up. Prices paid in the Empire Manufacturing Fed rise to the highest since 2018. Oh, another thing I miss. Oh, no, that's a Canadian number. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Housing starts 246,000 versus 215. That was good, but that was a Canadian number. Okay. Not how you want to be filled at 31.5. It's pretty tight, so
Winston's mom says CNN has an article on blank check companies and predicts a surge in 2021. From a capital markets perspective, this year. Winston's mom says will undoubtedly be known as the year of the Schbach, wrote a team of strategists at Goldman, including David Costin.
Oh, wait, Wall Street analysts are bullish about 2021? Oh. So surprised. Is there a bearish analyst out there? Like literally, is there a bearish analyst out there? I guess the guys at Zero Hedge are still kind of bearish. They're always doom and gloom, man. That's a problem with Zero Hedge is you get a lot of good information.
Says MarketWatch, not CNN. Goldman's crew make the case that the current drivers for SPAC activity, interest rates at or near 0%, a push by sponsors from toward growthier prospects.
Yeah, but I think that...
Winston's mom says largely in technology-related fields, versus value-oriented opportunities, and a surge in retail appetite, have propelled SPAC demand. My mistake, I was reading MarketWatch also.
Right, yeah. I think that these SPACs are very much run the risk of overpaying, though. Oof. Do you see the way that they covered their offer at 31.5 when it ticked down? Now, the initial downtick was 3,000, but then maybe 1,000 pulled off of it. So that one was good. Stex Hammer. He is so have you guys been watching Stex Hammer 666's Twitter account? This is a YouTuber that is very he's I wouldn't say that he's a Republican or a Democrat, but he's very political. And he says we have a pandemic of COVID, but the bigger pandemic is a pandemic of pussified hall monitor wannabes who can't mind their own business and seek to export their fear and paranoia to make others as miserable as they are. It seems like ever since this pandemic thing came along, he has been super unhappy. This is exactly the sort of thing that he's always been negative about. I would consider him kind of more like anti-government spying state kind of a guy, you know?
Prolong Wealth says Mark Faber is always a perma bear, but they are lurking. Lol.
Mark Faber is a bear? I never watch him.
Says right libertarian.
Yeah, I would consider him a right-leaning libertarian. Yeah. But he's really not conservative at all.
Lobo Trader says good morning, Seth. Good morning, traders. Slightly smiling face.
Yeah, thank you. Nice of you all to stop in. Yeah, the whole pandemic thing is interesting to think about. Do you think that a lot of these things, one of the things that bothers me is that they keep saying, oh, even after the vaccine is passed, you'll still need to wear masks and stuff. It's like, how much of this stuff is actually going to end up being permanent, you know? There are going to be groups of people that are going to wear masks for the next 30 years. It's annoying. That's right. I just don't. Okay, so the E-mini moving up there. I guess they want to reclaim yesterday's levels. It's maybe they decided that I'm right. Maybe they decided that the next shutdown is all priced in, and all that matters is whether or not Congress passes a stimulus. So they want to reclaim yesterday's levels. I don't know why they waited until today to do it, but I don't know. I'm really frustrated on the political front right now. You know what is driving me crazy right now? I used to enjoy reading the Donald subreddit. There would be, interesting perspectives, and they would point things out that I think a lot of the mainstream media misses and things like that, right? But lately they're just completely off the deep end, man. They are They are 100% invested in this.
Says now an extensive Chinese study consisting of 5 old men has said that COVID kills male fertility.
Oh yeah, I saw that
narrative.
one.
Let's hope it doesn't gain steam.
Yeah, I don't know what do you do about that one, but come to that. No, they are 100% in on this Donald Trump can still win thing. Even and I thought, okay, let them have their thing, and then the electors will meet, and then reality will have to set in, and they'll move on, and they can focus on the Georgia runoffs and pushing against all of the things that Democrats are pushing, and this, that, and the other thing, right? Nope. I was reading a thread yesterday that was like, anybody that doesn't think that Donald Trump is going to win this and be inaugurated in February is a deep state plant or Republican that we need to get rid of, and this, that. I'm like, are you like crazy, man? Like, it's over. I mean, you can keep your lawsuits, and I hope they do, and I hope that they push that as far as they can. But the chances of Biden not being inaugurated in January or whenever it is practically nil at this point. And continuing to act in denial of that fact is a political liability. Like, you run in an election, and they're going to use that against you, that you're crazy. So don't expect the politicians to, take that line. No, they're gonna save their own necks. The politics is stupid. Just figure out where to put the money. Tyranny or freedom. If we can put our money somewhere, that's what counts. We just need to redistribute all of the money in the economy appropriately, and everything will be fine, guys. And by redistribute, I mean take future money from some people and give it to current people now. Preferably consumers. Medical tyranny is the future. They want a Chinese-style society economy. There are people that want that, isn't there? It seems like there are people that want that. I was watching... did you guys watch the last episode of The Mandalorian? So the last episode of The Mandalorian, I'm going to spoil it for you. If you don't want it to get spoiled for you, you haven't watched it already, then don't listen. Okay, but there's this character that is, who is it that plays it? It's, I know, he's kind of like got that Boston accent, and he's kind of a smart ass. And in the show, he's giving all his political commentary. So they're on this planet trying to get some information to get baby Grogu. And in order to do it, they have to infiltrate a Imperial base. And so to do it, they have to carry this explosive through a jungle. And the locals are trying to stop the Imperial vessels from getting there. So basically, the Mandalorian ends up fighting and killing a bunch of people that normally he would like totally support, right? And so there was this whole thing about like, there's these guys and these guys, but it's all just one group of people subjugating another group of people, and most of the war is the people don't have any choice, and everybody compromises their principles when push really comes to shove, and things are down to the wire. And then at the end, so he's saying all this stuff, but then at the end he runs across an Imperial officer that used to be his officer and forced him to commit gross war crimes and atrocities. And the Imperial officer is saying, well, we're going to win because we can do all of this awful stuff, but in the end, people just want the security. Yeah, that comedian. Well, I forget his name. I just can't remember anybody's names in the morning. Anyways, this Imperial Ops, and it's just really nasty. Like, it really makes you hate this guy. And but you're sitting there and you're looking at everything that's been going on, and you're like, you know what? He's right, though. People seem to accept just about everything as long as, like, everything is just calm and peaceful. Bill Burr. There you go. Bill Burr. Was Bill Burr. This officer is saying that, and that, like, causes a change in Bill Burr, and so Bill Burr decides to shoot the officer, and then they have to escape. Anyways, the thing that is so interesting about it, though, is that if you go online and you read in, like, the Star Wars subreddit, like, everybody is reading into it their own political opinion. Like, a bunch of people are like, oh, this is, they're talking about Nazis. Or whatever it is. But when I'm watching it, I'm thinking, oh yeah, you let them do just about anything that you want. You don't look into any possible oddities with the elections. Don't do a real investigation. Take out as much debt as possible. Don't worry about the future consequences of that. Don't worry about the future consequences on your freedom of whatever kind of draconian lockdown measures that they put down. People accept whatever it is, as long as everything is just kind of, is orderly. Disney Star Wars is rubbish. You could go watch The Mandalorian, man. It's good. It's really good. And it is, they have you ever heard that they're basically erasing the sequel trilogy? So, like, basically what happened was this Jon Favreau guy who did a lot of the cartoons, by the way, came in and said, screw all of this stuff that they've been doing before. I'm going to do it my way. And he was so successful that they basically said, okay, we're just going to give the whole franchise to you. And then he went about erasing all of this stupid stuff that Kathleen Kennedy did. Like, they did, when Disney did their big announcements of, like, their next slate of content and everything, they pretty much straight up said that they are erasing the sequel trilogy. Like, they're just gonna retcon back over it. It's like a straight up a retcon. Self-admitted one at that. So they changed it. In fact, it's even, they're doing an animated cartoon that takes place after the sequels, and they, like, recast Rey. Like, because the actor didn't want to do it, so they used Keira Knightley for it. You stay away from Star Wars. All right, man, I got a question if you don't like Star Wars at all. Not even the original Star Wars? Man, that was my parents' first date, was the first Star Wars movie. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Star Wars, guys. I'm sure they would have watched a different movie. Can I erase my morning losses? Oh no. Man, if you've already lost a ton, then you got to take your foot off the gas pedal, man, because this isn't moving yet. You can only listen to grown men wet themselves over science fiction for so long before you're like, all right, I can't be this, lol. People need something, man. It's an obnoxiously contrarian position. That's okay. Okay, that makes sense. The first movie I ever saw in theaters was a Star Wars reboot? Really? Yeah, it really does, especially these days. So, like, I mean, I've gotten back to working out after the nose surgery. feel a little out of breath, by the way. It's that time of day, I guess. Ace is short. Really? Wait, did you take the 65? Okay, yeah, you did. 64 3/4. Same difference. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I tried taking it short earlier and it just didn't. Anyways, I've been working out, but then after I work out, it's like, okay, I can watch TikTok, I can watch YouTube, I can read boring trading books. I'm not a good reader, and like in terms of like staying interested, I can read really quickly actually, but I just can't stay focused, and a lot of what I'm reading, like I don't interpret it. Like my eyes are going through the motion, but my mind's not actually paying attention, you know? Or I just fall asleep. So then it's like, what you gonna do? Or I could play games, but I just don't have a game to play. But I realized, like, what did I do with, what was I doing with all my time? Okay, that up move is not good. We are about to get some news here, aren't we? Oh, just ECB's Lane is giving a speech at the top of the hour, I guess. Well, we haven't had one at the top of the hour go against us like that for a long time, have we? I should note, too, by the way, that the volume's not really there. It's the market maker just yanking it up. They're all in agreement, I guess. One of the things that I've learned is, like, I used to be like, okay, I used to believe if you see a move and it's on little volume, you got to be suspicious about that move. But I have since learned that basically you've got like market makers and you've got informed traders, right? But the market makers can be informed too. And then when they're all in agreement, it will just move to the spot that it needs to go. BJM, what live news source do you recommend? Well, I have so many here for you. Okay, so first one is you got to have TweetDeck up. TweetDeck is great. I guess it probably won't matter quite as much with Donald Trump not being president anymore, but it was useful when he was president. Create a list of people that you think matter, and just watch that list. So that's your first one, and you can add all of these market squawks, and they do pretty good. Okay, if you are a Jigsaw member, if you use Jigsaw Day Trader, inside of Day Trader, there's this economic releases panel, which is also very useful. It does pretty good job of giving you the economic numbers on time. And then I also am a lifetime member for Financial Juice. Paid the lifetime membership fee to get them for forever. Another option is you can get a zero hedge subscription now for $30 a month, and I think that gives you news from NewsSquawk. I don't think that it's the same thing as the full NewsSquawk service, but I haven't tried it yet. We'll probably try it. Well, I don't know. Maybe I could do that today, but so there's another news source for you. If you really have the money, I would get NewsSquawk. That's like $250 a month, but it's worth it. They give you usable edges. hard to trade the news? Well, it's there are some news moves that you just can't trade effectively, but there are some news moves that will be the easiest trade you ever take. The real issue with trading the news is inconsistency. You're not going to get a really good, solid news move in futures every day. Maybe if you had a Bloomberg terminal and you were trading day trading stocks, then maybe that would be different, but hard to trade option week in general if you don't follow rules normally, like I ignored gap fill fade. Yeah, well, and like I said again, you're getting a market where the market makers seem to be extremely apt to pulling, So you see this in the Treasury, for instance. We ticked down a good 4 ticks, and now they're coming back up, and that's not taking a whole lot of orders for them to make it tick up. So why is it moving up? It's because the market makers and the robots are moving it, and maybe there is some movement going on in the currencies that we should be aware of too, but that's how it goes. And I think that a lot of that is because of the options expiration and it being December and everything else, right? The March contract is kind of weird because you don't get quite the same amount of activity at the very beginning of it as you do on other months. Like, say, the June contract or the December contract. Okay, are they going to tick up? HF asks if any of y'all trade funded accounts. So I got a couple of guys in Discord that are trying to trade funded accounts right now. Well, not funded accounts. I think that they're just trading a combine. The truth is that I've been pretty anti-combine. And so we don't attract a lot of those guys. Most of the people that are here in chat trade their own account. But I do get some guys in Discord that are doing some combines and actually doing quite well with it too. I got this one guy that's very, very new, and he's an interesting guy. I mean, he comes off as like young, but I spoke to him. He's not that young, but he's just an extremely humble guy. And he is just catching some amazing trades somehow. I tell you what, if you're, I think that the number one thing I've seen from people that seem to be pretty good at this is they're pretty humble people. The number of contracts allowed to trade is attractive? Sure. Well, I've been noticing one of the things that I harp on a lot is that many of the people that you see that get funded, they will be taking trades that are usually it's price. Usually they call it price action, to be honest with you. What is defined as price action, that's up to you. I think it's an amorphous term, but they'll usually be saying that they're trading, price action, support and resistance, but they'll be doing it with a wide stop, right? Like their stop will be twice as far as their target. And the issue with that is that if your target is closer than your stop, you don't really actually have a probabilistic edge, right? The way that you're making money is by taking on excessive risk. And by doing that, you increase your probability of winning. But in the long run, if the setup doesn't really actually have edge, you're still going to lose money. It just takes a really long time for you to figure that out, right? And so you will see a lot of these guys where they'll pass a combine and then they'll have it for a few months and then they'll blow the account and then they'll go and do it all over again. Now, I harp on that a lot because I feel like that a lot of new traders get fooled by that, but The reality is, if you were going to trade a strategy like that, where the way that you're making money is just taking on excessive risk, combine account would be the way to do it, don't you think? Don't do it with your own money. Don't do it with your own money. Micros is your best combine for learning, in my opinion, your money. I agree. And guys, there's nothing wrong with trading at sim for a long time. I mean, here's the thing, as I will go through and backtest stuff. And I've actually, over the past month, found quite a large number of marginally profitable strategies. Particularly running order flow strategies on just this year, I've been able to come up with some pretty good strats. Not nearly as profitable as I'd like. I would really like to see something with a profit factor of above 1.5 or above 2 even. I do have one that's 2.2, but it's not super common, and the places that it takes trades in are very volatile. So I don't think that it's actually going to catch the prices that the backtest says that it would, right? Anyways, I found quite a few of those, and I'll go back and do all this stuff and management and all of these things. And there's still a lot of work to be done, but man, just getting an automated strategy that would really pass a combine is hard. And I found some that could pass a combine, but it wouldn't do it every month. You know, like there's we were looking at one the other day. Was talking to somebody and they were showing me a strategy, and it was pretty good, but there was like a 6-month period where it lost every month, you know, even though in the end it was good. You still don't know anything about Forex. It still has a little stink to it, or are we over that? Yeah, I don't know that. Forex is a different game altogether, right? Because all you can look at is the price. I think though, when you look at price, for instance, some people say that price is the most important thing. I mean, when you see these moves, for instance, like we had in the Treasury, where they came back up 3 ticks on almost no volume. And I mean, I think that they were kind of on the downside. They had a little bit of that going too, didn't they? It's hard not to look at it and say that, oh yeah, but that's because here again, if you don't really understand how the market works, and if you don't understand how the level 2 works, then you're not necessarily going to understand why it moved the way that it did. I, for a very long time, didn't know how it was, right? Now I just know that, oh, okay, the market maker knew. So like in this instance here, the market maker might be short, net short, because the market maker does have to pick a direction. Okay, so he might be net short, and he's trying to take profits off of, you know, being short and then absorbing contracts on the bottom, right? So if there is a piece of news that moves things up, he doesn't necessarily, or sorry, a piece of news that moves things down, he doesn't necessarily want to hit it with a bunch of market orders and like increase his position or stuff. He'll just drop his bids. And so then it ticks on no volume. But that's where I think you got to know, like, okay, on that particular tick, there was a news headline was coming out. Or in that particular tick, we saw this currency also moving, and that's what was really moving it. You know what I mean? So it's really, you really can't do it. I don't think that you can really completely analyze and explain what's going on with just price either, or with just volumes. Sometimes you almost always have to also know why the market was moving. And sometimes you just can't do that. So then the next best thing would be to just go off of price, right? But then if you just go off of price, then you'd get caught on something like this, where we had moved down 3 ticks and now it comes up on nothing. And what's with that? And how would you see that coming? Unless you knew that the reason why we had ticked down in the first place. Right? Would we be able to code a trade copier? So what do you mean by a trade copier? Do you mean something where like somebody sends you a signal and it would take the trade? It's because what? You want to copy my trades? I wouldn't recommend copying my trades. Just to be clear, I don't always have everything figured out, right? I've had some good trading, but I've had some really awful trading before too. Copy a trade from a master account to the other? So you're saying like, if I take a trade on my account, it will also take it in the Combine account? I think you probably could do that. I haven't messed with that kind of level of stuff yet. Big thing though, be advised that if you have an account, if you have a bunch of different accounts like that, you have to pay the professional fee. If you have a Combine account, you have to pay the professional fee too, right? But that's like $50, $100 a month or something, right? I'm not sure I understand why you would want to do it in bulk, why you would want to copy the same trade in multiple. So the advantage of having multiple accounts is you can do something like this. You can say, okay, I want to be net short, so I'm going to go net short here. And then when it comes down, you use the other account to buy things up. So your net impact kind of like, comes back out. And the thing that, so they can't see it off of volume and you just start taking it. I didn't explain that very well. You sell on one account and you buy on one account, and you're doing it with one contract on both sides or whatever the deal is. And so you keep your position over here, and then over here you're just taking these small little things, and your net volume on the market is actually zero. And so if the market was moving just off of you and it was following you, the reason that you still make money is because of how you take it on the pullbacks and you let it fall through and stuff, right? And I've known a number of pretty successful traders doing something to that degree, and I think that that's why they create the data stuff. Is there any difference in quality of data with professional? I don't think so. I think it's still the same data. Okay, so down tick at 31. Here again, they're just making the market here. It looks like I didn't even see any kind of correlations with that one. It's just ranging in that area. And it looks like maybe just the spread. There is a teeny tiny little bit of movement in the spreads. So I'm thinking right here, you're also seeing that because it does look like the majority of the market makers are going short. That's why I'm going short. It looks like some of them are going to decide to take some contracts at 31 now. What's this? Zero Hedges posting. Aggregate G6 central bank balance sheet. Oh, yeah. Just showing how much the central bank's balance sheets has increased. And how the Federal Reserve was the only one that really reduced their balance sheet, and the other central banks never did anything. Yeah. Leader McConnell, Attorney General Barr is one of the most dedicated and capable public servants I have ever seen in action. He has helped keep America safe from criminals and terrorists and advance bedrock American value, equal justice, and allow my full statement. Okay, that's interesting. So for those of you not aware with what's been going on, Attorney General Barr resigned last night. And Donald Trump was all out with, positive statements saying he's really good and he's doing it so that he can spend Christmas with his family and this and that. But under the surface, it sounds like that Donald Trump may have actually fired him because he was mad that they didn't say more. He personally intervened when it turned out that the FBI was investigating Hunter Biden. And they intentionally kept that information out of the public from before the election. So he's really unhappy with him. And so the people believe that Donald Trump fired him. And so now a lot of people are, the establishment people are coming behind Barr and saying, oh, well, he's such a good guy still. 45 million Americans under winter storm watch as powerful nor'eastern takes aim at the Northeast. Yeah, that happens every year, Zero Hedge. Actually, we did see a bit of a bid in natural gas yesterday because of this, didn't we? Anyways, what was I thinking? Oh, yeah. Going back to the excessive risk thing, I just want to see a strategy. Let's say here's the qualifications here. It's a strategy. It's automated. It takes 5 to 10 trades per day. It uses equal risk reward, and it has a win rate of 70%. Do you think that it exists? I've been told that it exists. But I try all of these different things that I think, okay, yeah, that should have a really high probability of happening. I think that maybe I'm taking too big, so I've been taking the range, 16 ticks. Probably it's going to have to be something less than 16 ticks. But man, maybe in the E-mini, I just need to go for a point for a point. Try working out a trade like that has a 70% win rate in sim, but I can't find it. And then when you have these guys that come in and they think that they have these probabilistic edges, but then you find out that they have a really large stop to go along with it, then it's not really the same thing, isn't it? Because by having that large stop, what you're saying is you can't predict how far it's going to go beyond you. That you can't predict, don't have a spot where you are certain that it's going to go further in your favor than it's going to go against your favor, and that it's going to go there almost immediately every time. That to me would be probabilistic edge. Okay, so they are definitely doing the mid-price game at 31, but they're kind of saying that maybe they want to take 31.5. But that's just because they're not really getting from time to time they'll sell 31. So you see there 361. Offer at 31 doesn't really hold, and nobody hits into 30.5. A little move up there in the E-mini, but it kind of spiked back, huh? On the 1 minute chart, it is really disorganized. Of course, the Donald Trump supporters are very upset at Bill Barr. Okay, so now that Q on the offer at 31 was pretty stable. So something I've been noticing lately, and I think that this is partly because of my book, but I look for, even if there's only 800 on the offer, but it's stable, like you'll see like a few will take off and then a few will put on, and the amount that's coming off and the amount that's coming on are the same, then it's a stable queue. So it was stable for a while. They added, there you go. So that time somebody took 30 half 948. Offer immediately came in. So that again looks like market making activity. Had to throw out the Texas lawsuit. You can't have states suing each other over their decisions. Yeah, I have to admit on that one, I've had a really hard time understanding what's going on there, just because so like if you go on the Donald, they're all like, oh, this is a solid thing and it's going to happen. Like they all think it's happening, and they're just completely off their rocker at this point. Like I sit back and I'm look at this and I'm like, how much of this is really real people? I'm starting to wonder, to be honest, like how much is real people and how much of it is like Russians and so forth just trying to stir things up. But then when I go on like my traditional media or even kind of like more establishment Republican blogs, you believe Hot Air is basically an establishment Republican blog now, apparently. That's what it feels like sometimes. And they all think, oh, these are all just ridiculous. Wow, it's kind of one thing because there's this one guy on that website that just really doesn't like Donald Trump. And so you kind of have to factor that into everything that he says. But so I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, well, it seems to me like that Pennsylvania shouldn't have been allowed to change that law, that they have to do it with the state legislature. And it seems to me that hasn't been able to get to the Supreme Court because the lower courts keep denying it. So how do you get that to court, even though it seems like on the merits that they're right? But then this whole thing about you can sue another state. So the thing is, you can certainly sue another state, right? If you're suffering harm from it. But I think they're saying that another state having a bad election law, it doesn't give you standing. But that's the thing, is that the one that would have standing to challenge the law would be the Trump campaign, and they tried that and that they just got thrown out. Wait, you still short? I thought you would have been out a long time ago. The E-mini is, this whole range right here is just kind of messing with us, right? Anyways, and then there's, I can see where this is going. So what you'll see one where it's like, okay, well, you can't challenge this law because you should have done it before the election, which I kind of agree with. You can't have everybody go and vote and then say, but all of their votes are invalid because the law was wrong. But then if they go and they challenge these laws for the runoff election, they're going to say, well, you haven't suffered any harm yet because the election hasn't happened. And they're rejected on that. You get what I mean? Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to me like a sustainable thing, because Democrats have had concerns about these elections in the past too, right? And the election laws are not very secure. And there was also this audit. You remember there was this audit in Michigan came out yesterday, a piece of news that we're not hearing a lot about. But it was a partisan committee went and did an audit, and they of course you got to take what they say with a grain of salt. But the shocking thing that they found over there was that the failure rate for the ballots was like 50%. So clearly there are some things wrong with the election system, and people are trying to say that there's nothing wrong, but clearly there will need to be changes at some point. Depends on when they'll acknowledge it. Yeah, Dace, did you take another trade? You didn't necessarily give it to us. My prediction, within a year from now, a mainstream media outlet will do a report on, there were funny things going on in Fulton County. Yeah. Oh, there will be. It's never, you know that it's never going to go away, right? Like, there are just going to be people 30 years from now saying that it was stolen. Just like I still see Democrats complain about the Florida election and say that George Bush stole stole that election. Okay, well, 65 is an interesting spot. That is a weird dust bunny. That must be like a seed of some sort. Little cotton fluff ball. I heard that the Biden campaign is going to affect trading such as fees. What do you think? Asks BJM. Fair question. So they definitely want to do some things. In particular, they talk about a trading tax, which, by the way, has been a complete disaster in many places that has been tried. They want to do a wealth tax, which was actually implemented many places in Europe, but then they all got rid of it because it hurt them. So they say that they want to do these things. I personally don't think that he actually wants to. I think that I don't think that Joe Biden is as ideological as one might think. He is mostly going to say like what his advisors and lobbyists tell him, right? That's the way that these kinds of politicians tend to work. So you think that the lobbyists are going to say, oh yeah, financial transaction tax, absolutely great thing? No. So the Democrats will say that they're going to do it to hype up the base and stuff, but it's probably not going to happen. Taxation is theft. Well, that was a significant downtick there for the 30-year, wasn't it? Hitting into new lows in the 30. The 10, nobody's touched 29.5 yet. I mean, they're holding 3,000 on the offer there. I think one of you guys are going to have to do it if you're still long. As long as members of the Senate and Congress can hold stocks, forget about a real wealth tax. Well, it makes you wonder, like, when we talk about, when people use technical analysis and they say, we're using insiders and informed traders and these are where they're making moves and stuff. And who are we really talking about? And apparently we're actually talking about congressmen, right? In my opinion, and I would consider this an extreme opinion. Like, the chances of this ever actually happening are probably nil. So I would consider it an extreme proposal. But if I had my way, if you are any kind of public servant, you are not allowed to directly own stocks. Everything is put in a blind trust and somebody else manages your money. I don't think that they should be able to be allowed to do that. There's too much, it creates too much conflict of interest. Ooh, 29.5. And now they trade 29. So to remember 29.5, they weren't really trading it at all, but that time they just blew right through it. Now some profit taking at a 1 in the 5-year. Hunter does that for Joe. He holds for the big guy. It's going to be interesting to see what they pull out about Hunter Biden and if those investigations just get dropped or what. But no, there's all sorts of laws regarding that sort of stuff. I would never expect them to change. Now, let me try and put a different spin on it for you, though. What is it? You are the president and you trade before and after the tweet only. I don't think that they're doing that. I think that there were some instances where people in the White House knew stuff and they made trades off of it. But especially during the whole trade war thing, I actually suspect that during the trade war, there was situations where the White House or frankly, Beijing, I think, did it on the other side, would tell either the Treasury Department or significant market participants certain pieces of news on the understanding that they would trade that news in a way to make the market action advantageous to their negotiating position. I think that was happening because I saw many, especially on the Chinese side, many times where people front ran the really big out of nowhere news on the Chinese side. And the Chinese definitely tried to time it, time their releases at certain times to affect the markets. And you could see how as time went on that they became more sophisticated about it. Like the first time that they tried it, it was like it just did not. Like they went way early and the market was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then kind of yawned and then the open happened. And it was, so then the next time they waited until after the market opened and then they dumped it. Right. So that definitely happens. Anyways, on the point of, allowing congressmen to hold stocks, just remember that there's positives and minuses to everything. So I believe that it would be better if people in Congress didn't have those conflicts of interest. But on the other hand, it also means that Congress does tend to make decisions that benefit the economy overall. Do you remember I saw this thing the other day, somebody talking about a study where they looked at how much does the opinion of everyday people affect policy? And they basically straight up said that it doesn't affect policy, like 0%. That what is the most indicative of where policy will go is what rich people. Oh my God, did Jigsaw just crash? That's never happened before. Straight up crashed. Yep. Well, good thing it'll start back up very quickly. Yeah. By holding stocks, more open-minded about commerce, etc. Yeah. There's positives and negatives to everything, isn't there? So one of the things I like about Thomas Sowell, I think that the way that he came about, because he wasn't conservative originally, he went in and he was seeing that, hey, you know what? Like a lot of the things that they tell us about like what the economic numbers are and stuff isn't true. But then I think that he started digging into the numbers himself and he realized that the truth wasn't always what he wanted it to be either. Check the baby, he hacked your station. Now look at that. That took like 10 seconds to load back up. So okay, so on the open selling. Well, you're just going to be cautious about this. So I was reading, I'm trying to suss one of the things that I'm watching and I'm trying to figure out here on the E-mini is that my understanding is that there is significant autocorrelation effects, which means that if you see a big buy order, you're significantly likely to continue seeing lots of buy orders in the future. Or like if the net sold right now on the open, it's like net selling. But before that was net buying. So I don't know how they figure that out statistically, but the claim was that the reason that you see that is because there's not enough liquidity, essentially. That a company that wants to buy something, they can't just buy it all at the same time because there's not the liquidity. So they have to do it, wait. So hence, if you think about it from that perspective, if you're taking the trade after you see like the flush of volume, you're probably getting in like the worst spot, right? So then how do I work out where the advantageous place is to get in here? Well, I'm just looking here in the E-mini, net selling on the open, but they're able to get back up to the highs and test that last pivot high very easily. The treasury's not really moving yet. You did that 3 times this morning? Okay, so they got back up there to that. They tested that high. They are retracing it a bit. It's still net sell. That's interesting. Well, that's telling me to go short, so I'm gonna try it and see what happens. Nope, it might be a bounce. Oof. Net selling, but both ways. Oh, the 3 losses. Yeah, I get you. And it comes all the way back down just like nothing. Well, okay, so we should be careful because that pattern can result in a bull. Let's see. The volume is still short though. Whew. I haven't seen any big clicks yet. Yeah, big move up there though. I was gonna say, like, I really thought there for a second that we were gonna get it. But if we had actually made that one, that would have just been pure dumb luck. That would have been just pure dumb luck, man. Boy. So if we decide to go to the upside, there could be quite a bit of upside. It's still not selling though. Oh, sure. Now you do it. So Treasury is able to move pretty freely down in this area, which I want to point out. Treasuries, when treasuries drop, they often do it on low volume. Other things do it, and it'll seem like, oh, this price, it's like it'll take something to really get them below 28, and then it'll just tick through it on like 100 contracts, and you're like, what? Apple is up 3.5%, really? How are they up that much? Okay, well, that last entry wasn't necessarily the best, but I do think it is going to turn through. In fact, I'm pretty confident about it. Well, now we're going to have to go and look at the VIX and stuff, because this is a little mixed up. Well, actually, oh, is it really all the way up there? 36.86. And targets are 95. Well, it could do it. I would expect to see a little bit of float up to come in here, but they're still kind of struggling still, so been having trouble over here in the treasury, because I would like to try and take another little ad, but I'm not really seeing a spot to safe to take it. Well, it's definitely doing something different today, wouldn't you say? Well, I take that back. There's had many times where it's been kind of lackluster like this, and then all of a sudden somebody flips the switch on, right? We should keep an eye out for any kind of news. Get economic optimism number at the top of the hour, I guess. It's actually, I could sell it short here. I don't know if that one actually qualified, but I need to remember to turn on my algorithm over here. I keep meaning to test that. So quite a bit of limit orders here in this 67 area. Okay, well, I guess you should have listened. Let's see here. I tried 2 sells and 2 buys. Well, this is the second buy. Actually, that last one I got 12 favorable, not 16. So I may need to bring my targets in here. Or maybe it's just a sell. I don't know. The treasuries don't really look like they're all that moved by what's going on in the E-mini. I guess the 30-year bounced back up really hard, but the others are just kind of in the zone still. Should watch over here for some informed trading, though. Wow. Snowflake shares fall 7%, extending 3-day drop to 18%. Wow. Hmm. When I reversed there, it didn't take the auto. Didn't put the auto target stop. Brannigan, a rare pattern has developed in the DAX. Box highlights the market's net positioning. Typically, when a market becomes overbought, as DAX was in November, we'll see profit taking, which neutralizes the positioning somewhat. The fact that positioning is neutral in DAX and price has not had to come off tells you everything you need to know about this market. There is a very explosive move coming in DAX over the next few days. There's one other market this is being observed in, and it applies. Price is going to 250,000 before long. Oh, good grief. $25,000 before long in Bitcoin. Okay, if you say so. They sure do seem poised, don't they? Like they're doing an ascending triangle. But I still say it's crazy overbought. I guess it would make sense then in a world where everything is overbought that they would overbuy Bitcoin too, huh? FDA endorses safety and efficacy of Moderna's COVID vaccine. Oh, that's old news. New Squawk, big offer to cover ratio on the latest Bank of England 20-year plus buyback, adding pressure to gilts and wider rates markets here. CFTC commenting on a video or responding to another member in an online group discussion may seem innocent enough, but these interactions can sometimes be used as bait in social media fraud. Learn the steps to be aware of. I love it. Their tagline, a net of lies. Commenting on a video or responding to another member in a group discussion may seem innocent enough, but these interactions are just bait. Fraudsters are often successful because they target their victims. Expressing interest or even participating in the same groups could make some users potential targets. Fraudsters can easily size up your profile information and gather details from profiles on other platforms too. They go after targets they believe will be the most profitable. Professionals, retirees, people willing to take some risks with their money, or people who recently experienced some financial strain are commonly targeted. Well, you know where this needs to go, right? It needs to go to the Facebook group. Let's see here. Not my Facebook group. Well, how many of these has been long and how many of these have been short? I'm chasing the market here. Oh, let's chase it again. Okay. Got pressure both ways. I don't know. Like, I find it really curious how the buyers, well, I don't even know if it's necessarily the buyers, but I just find it really curious how the market has been able to float up but the net order flow is all sell, and in very, very consistently so. I mean, look, that is a straight line. That is like a direct sell, and like, is it careening down? It's not. The treasuries are bidding up a little bit though, so there's that. Okay, I finally got one. Okay, another low. Whoa, what? Okay, well, I'm going to take that one in the treasury off. I think that I'm just reliving my nightmares from yesterday, right? Because there was a significant switch and I didn't really catch it and I held it. So here in the treasury, those bids are pretty solid there, and I'm seeing some signs of informed trading around this price. I think that that's an okay place to get off. I don't need to wait for the other two. And I'm certainly not going to add right here. Now on this side, I might try and make a market here a little bit. Okay. Put it there. You can hear my wife in the next room with the baby. I don't think she's happy that he's awake. Didn't sleep last night. Let's say your cumulative delta chart to invert. I don't know. So 29 pulling tad. It's having a hard time right there. Okay. It's not, it's not just that it's net selling. It's quite a bit too. 27 to 35. So about 8K negative off of the open. And that takes us below yesterday's negative Q. Oh, actually not quite. It's close though. Oh, okay. McConnell is speaking on the Senate floor. It's good to know. Okay. Let's see that. 29.5 in the 10-year is holding an okay bid. Okay. So I got a pretty good down bar there, and overall very choppy. So I think a better way to put this is the R squared of the cumulative delta is almost 1, and the R squared of price is almost 0. Okay, so there's a new low. I think I scalped that one pretty good. New low, but pulling back. Treasury's still sitting there 29.5. Asking if anybody's going to buy 30, but nobody's doing it. So way more volume at 29. Remember that 29.5 was this area that was like they were having trouble going through at first, and now it ends up being where all of the volume is at. Could try selling that, but I think there's a little bit too much of a risk of it going up there, so. keep in mind not everyone has rolled over yet. That could be... McConnell, our country, has a president-elect and a vice president-elect, and the electoral college has spoken. McConnell is kind of subtly hinting to the Trump world that, like, you're on your own. Nope. Let's check here. I see. Octavia's just pointing out that there's an AK vid in ZF. And I see that. It's not really in an area that we can read too much from that, so it was interesting though. Curiously enough, there is still a lot that hasn't rolled over. Well, these volume readings in the E-mini might not necessarily be reliable, but we are seeing some incredibly interesting action. Also, I want to note that we are seeing a pretty big iceberg showing up at 29.5 in the 10-year, which I also find interesting. That one I'm not going to say is necessarily indicative of somebody that wants to go short and a market that's going to move down, because it's happening at the place where a lot of the volume has happened and so forth. I think that there's a pretty good chance that that's just somebody looking to hedge something, and that they've decided that is a pretty good place to get the amount of volume that they want. So we'll see if the market can handle it or not. Yawn, yawn, yawn. So I went into that group and I was like, they're talking directly to you about when people try and comment and sell you on systems that's the way the scammers work. And this guy is like, what about the legit ones that are trying to see the average person win? What if they've backtested their service and verified its validity? Okay, buddy. Yeah, I mean, does anyone else hear a random twitty noise every once in a while, like a mic pop? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look here and see if there's something I'm doing that might be making that noise. You might be hearing me shuffling around and touching the desk and stuff. If you got like a real pop, like, something like that, then we're concerning. Oh, I also got, oh, no, we have it down. I think we're good. Okay, 29.5 bid now. Sounds electrical. Mm-hmm. Well, if it is happening, I don't know if there's a whole lot I can do about it. I can go back and rewatch the video. See. Like right now, when I'm not talking, it should be almost dead silent because I have a expander on it. Okay, so I keep seeing this when it gets down here. It's like, it looks pretty good, but then it doesn't really go anywhere. And I'm still seeing, well, it's now starting to turn into that this chop is like becoming consistent chop. But let's see if they break out the bottom here. So they pushed just a tad bit lower there, but it's still not. I guess we are technically in the counter trend time period, but man, it really hasn't done anything during this time, has it? Well, somebody in chat thinks this is bullish, huh? Well, I think Q is a little slightly outperforming today, but you get that on the overnight stuff, right? All the time. All right, they're gonna break it. They're gonna do it this time. The thing is, it was so choppy up and through there that there's gonna be a lot of market makers looking to take a profit here. So I'm not necessarily gonna get my hopes up on seeing a great stop run here. Okay, this is just a little bit, right? Freaking Jigsaw. There is one thing, like Jigsaw works really well, and it crashed on me today, but like that literally never happens, and it has never happened before. But one thing that does happen all the time is my positions window will crap out on me. Okay, so the treasury is now hitting into 30. Wow, you know, we called that really well, actually. I think I should have taken it off when I was down here, but just that iceberg and saying, you know what, I don't think that that's necessarily somebody trying to go short, and I'm not sure that we should worry about that too much. And now they're hitting into 30, kind of tells you exactly. And the E-mini continues to look sad. Consistent delta negative. We're well past 10,000 contracts short now. Okay, so there was a little bit of a spot right here. Now there's a overnight area 56-ish. $30 now, holding a pretty good solid bid, right? So we'll see if things work out in the E-mini. I still feel that a lot of my trading in the E-mini just ends up being random. I don't know why I end up like losing a bunch of times in a row and then I'll catch a winner, but because I think that a lot of these entries are just random. Maybe it's because I'm not taking profits on my winners as I should. But over in the treasury, I think we learned our lesson from yesterday, yeah? Okay, so a decent amount of volume going on here in the ES. And some absorption. So right there, well, they're willing to hit him, but he's putting up more. Okay, the 10-year ticked back down at 30. All the news media is picking up on McConnell saying that the Electoral College has spoken. Yep, flipping back up there. Note though that the net cumulative delta is still kind of sad. Okay, coming back into that area, and I can see some people trying to defend it now. Hmm, 30 bids back up though. Well, this has been like the longest 15 minutes of our stream ever, isn't it? Okay, so they beat out that high. That did end up being a bullish candle setup. Maybe I should have gotten out. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna get a pullback," but I'm still kind of thinking I can try selling it. But now where it's at, I'm feeling a little shy about it. Bad idea to predict short now. Yeah. See, it's just not. It just doesn't look like a super great setup. I could try waiting and seeing what happens. this sure would be wouldn't necessarily be the best place to be taking it long now at this point, right? Because it's basically the high end of this kind of descending channel. There you go. I've never met a successful trader who just followed someone else's signal. If so, it was short-lived. Right? Linda is on point here. Heck, she is a trader with more experience than most people I know. He's right. Just had a tiny little earthquake there. And when I feel that shaky, it gets me going. I still have PTSD from that, I guess. Okay, so that came back down again. So I guess that area that I was thinking maybe I should short it here, maybe it would have been okay for a short-term one. Let's see if they go for a new low. Okay, well, they're coming back into that 59 area. So you can see, once again, you start to get a little bit of, flakiness in the tape, I guess you could say, when they touch 59, right? Like they take it down to 59, but then nobody hits into 59 and it ticks back up. Okay. Ooh, 58.75 pulled. Okay, yeah. It's the same kind of fade trend as yesterday. I would agree with you, yeah. Well, here's the thing that concerns me. In all of my back testing, one of the things that I have found is very consistent is that the market will tend to melt up and melt down, if that makes sense, right? So when we talk about a melt up, that's kind of just like a slow and steady rise as price gets higher and higher and higher, right? And it takes a long time, and it's hard because you got to be patient and wait for them to come down into you and things like that. Like I was saying, the market buying tends to be the direction that it's going to go, but not necessarily at that time. And if you buy like right after the cluster of volume, you often just get stuck, right? But when markets move down, they tend to do so very quickly, right? Okay, so that was a pretty good stop run with quite a bit of bids absorbed down there in the 56 area. Anyways, but what we have seen this past 2 days is much more orderly, isn't it? It's like it's down. It's been down. We're down a solid 10 points. Yeah, a solid 10 points, but it took a whole hour to do it, right? So it's not a meltdown. It's quite it seems to me like I would describe it more as a very slow, methodical, and orderly exit, which means that there's probably a lot of retail people and market makers dip buying down here, much like what happened there at 59, and then getting screwed over. Because these guys, they want to sell and they don't necessarily have the liquidity to do it, right? They're trying to sell without causing a meltdown. Engineered, yeah. So when we saw it earlier in the year, remember I talked about this a lot at the peaks of the pandemic, that when you're seeing prices moving down and it gets really quite crazy and it starts trading extreme ranges and it's severe volatility, and it really turns into something that as a day trader, maybe you caught it early or something, but otherwise you just get diced up because the range is so much further than any of your stops and it just becomes a real mess, right? But when that happens, that's often the end. What concerns me more is when I see something that is persistent, that's just slow and steady. That to me is more like really big players methodically making a move in a way that is very difficult for us to see. And when they do that, those are the ones that tend to be, keep going. They just keep going and keep going and keep going. If I held a whole overnight all day long, I would already be out at 70, of course, because I'm rational, yeah. Well, I mean, look at the delta. Well, actually, let's take it back over here. Charts. So on our positioning model, of course, because the delta has been all negative, you just see only the buying position come up. But you do see some shorts to some extent. And look at how few there actually are, like, because it's all profit taking, right? So from the market maker perspective, right? The short market makers don't appear to actually be adding a lot, right? I think that the net, and by the way, this is now below some overnight buying positions. So now we come down to this area is the next area that I'm going to be interested in. Also, what is the downside target is 38. But the thing is that I think this is slow methodical selling, and who knows how much they're actually going to sell, like they could be done now. They could just like mysteriously finish and be done. Question now is this a trend day again or something weird? Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Well, we're not below yesterday's lows. We're not even close. Yeah. Okay, so this we should know. They went through like that buyer cost basis from overnight, and you are getting a tiny bit of a bounce here. So there's that. It could just be done there, and it was just like a pullback from the overnight action. On the other hand, when it starts behaving like that, it usually just keeps going. So I think that the most appropriate thing for me in this situation, yeah, I'm just hold my risk, and if I really see a really strong rip, then I might fade that, but otherwise this methodical downside could be the Biden rally. What do you mean? You mean the Biden sell-off? I don't. Okay, so let's just note that 3659 was previous support, right? Okay. It's teensy weensy bit of hesitation right here. The Treasury is pulling its bid at 29.5, but it looks like the volume is still taking orders there. So kind of hard to determine where this one is going to come out. Analysts say the e-commerce company Wish, which posted a net loss of $76 million for their first 9 months of this year, is losing momentum ahead of its IPO. Shouldn't they be making tons of money right now? That one is concerning for them. Okay, so they hesitated a little. Kind of becomes the moment of truth now. Some of these, I broke my indicator, I can see. That should be aligned right there. But it goes down. Oh, I'm going to have to go look at that. That's funny. Sebastian Hello said, I see you tired. Do I look tired? Because I'm tired. I got to bed at it was before 11. Like 11 is like the hard cutoff where it's like, you stay up later than 11 said, you can be very unhappy. Okay, so I go at 11, and then mom comes in and wakes the baby up accidentally, and then I made the mistake of snuggling him, I guess, and so he thought it was playtime. So he was crawling all over us for like 2 hours. So yeah, it was like 2.5 hours or whatever until we fell asleep. Now, granted, I was kind of half asleep during that time, but yeah, it wasn't very good quality sleep. I did okay on the treasury, though. I think that I was a little sharper than I was yesterday. Kids are great. Well, I really enjoy having the kid. I have to say, the whole pandemic thing and being home all the time and having so much time with my, because everybody's all like, always like, enjoy this time and this and that. And I was like, there's no way that I could possibly do more, like, other than that I have a bad attention span. And so I'm not 100% focused, but we've got plenty of time with the baby. It's Friday enough for me, as says Clark in the Discord, and day trading is hard. Said someone put on a poster and sell it with live, laugh, love posters. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Oh, I should put that in our store, or maybe we can do it on those metal prints. Okay, so an attempt. There is some market buying there. That's actually a blue bar there. Well, what does it come out on the 5-minute chart? It is a blue bar. The price bar is orange, but the delta is blue. So I think in this situation, since it's consolidating so strongly, Connell's still speaking apparently. $30 and $30.5 still kind of, which kind of potentially suggests up. Oh no, it pulls. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so I'm seeing the consolidation. I think that what I want to do is get out, and then, because the trend is starting to break up, let it chill out, and then decide where we want to go. I guess we only got 30 minutes, so maybe I won't be taking another trade. Unfortunately, that only takes out 2 bad trades. So net for the day, when we include treasuries, it's positive, but not when it's just on at E-mini, it's still minus 40. So I'm still trading awful on the E-mini, man. I don't know. Oh, what's this? Goldman Sachs, a guide to European indices. Oh, it's like all of the European indexes. Chuck Schumer's flip phone just rang on the floor while he was speaking, apparently. Oh, your kid is your best friend. There you go. Well, so here's something that bothers me is if I show him something, man, he is into it. Like, he wants to be in this room. He wants to be on the computer. I show him the fight stick. He wants to slam on that. I'm like, I have too much influence. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, I should go look at that. Have a DigitalOcean server still up somewhere? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go take care of that. By the way, we haven't touched the ATR stop, so we could totally see us come up to like the 62 area, you know, this volume profile up here, and then turn back down again. I don't know. This bar looks like positive cumulative delta. It's changing. The delta has changed. So I think that it may be the case that whatever caused that persistent selling is over. I'm wondering if what happens if, so I'm just thinking, I'm gaming this out and I'm thinking, okay, so I'm a really big guy and I have to sell a lot of futures. And I want to have as little impact on the market as possible. So I just set this program up to sell. And if I get a move that is like slips, like if I get a stop run like we had there when they tried to save it at 36.59 and then it failed and moved lower, that means that I'm having too much of an impact on the market and I want to back off. So at that point, it would want to let off. So we could see the market rise back up and then that algorithm come back in again, right? Yeah, but yes, I know what you're talking about, Edwin. Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. I was surprised that that one. You know what's so weird to me about some of those TikTok songs is that, like, that one, that was totally a meme song. Like, the reason it was successful was the meme associated with it, right? Where you'd show something really bad happening to somebody. The song itself is just doesn't seem like something that'd be popular on the radio, right? But it's popular on the radio. Okay, well, they came back up there. I'm seeing some activities, so we're getting a couple of big orders coming in. Oh. They're all pulling, though. Mo Brooks, Trump won the Electoral College. I can be part of the surrender caucus, or I can fight for. Oh my gosh, these people. And Donald Trump is still tweeting about it. Guys, give up. At what point do you admit that you lost and move on to more important things? So, like, I'm not so sure that strategically this makes sense. Well, it got scared off that high. Yeah, I mean, we could be fine. Last pivot was 35.56. I'm looking at this chart and I broke one of my indicators. It's not like broke, but just kind of broke, and it's really bothering me. It's really bothering me. So now I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes trying to fix it, probably. It must be on. There must be a case that I didn't update things on. So there's confirmed pivot high. There's the new high and lows candidates. Huh. No. Oh. Okay, so it was a new. It was confirmed on the same bar that it happened. Did it always do that? Oh no, it didn't, because it was aha. Okay, I know what caused it. Look, they coming back down. And look, the treasuries bid back up. So I'm hearing some buzz that the Brexit deal is coming in close. Live Squawk retweeting Nicholas Watt. Big buzz in the last hour among Tory MPs that the UK is heading towards a Brexit deal with the EU. Eurosceptics being reassured they will be happy.
Block cell.
Something's going on here. Yeah. So the treasuries are definitely starting to pick up on that news now. I heard it on the Squawk and I didn't see it reacting. I was like, But now they are fighting it and I see it happening. And since the futures are like so crazy oversold, I think that we could get a good one here. Let's see. You know, my target isn't unreasonable either, so. But look, the treasuries definitely sold on that, didn't they? Back down 2 ticks. Hmm. 6K bid at 30.5 now, huh? The inverted hammer, by the way. Anytime I see that, I just make note. Not that it's an incredibly reliable signal, but it's the best performing signal over the past year for bar candles. So look at that, 7K at 30. That is so interesting. Are they going to hit into that at 30? I should be paying attention to this thing in the E-mini, but what's going on in the 10-year treasury is way more interesting. 10K bid, 8K bid at 30. Not really a lot of volume going back and forth here at the moment. Can I see anywhere like maybe here? Oh, okay, so somebody dumped for sure when that happens. Wow, that was 25,000? I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again. There was 25,000 contracts sold there when they ticked down. Really? I don't know. Maybe that's like a really big market maker that like is really stuck or something. I don't know. He's sitting there like, well, I know that you guys are gonna have to sell it now, but you're gonna have to sell through me and fill me first. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Okay, so I don't know how far that's going to go, but to get that 16, that was a good trade. What don't you think? That's the kind of trade that I'm really looking for, and it's been a while since I've seen one that I really thought had potential, and that worked out. So I'm happy about that, and I'm happy about how I did the market making in the 10-year. Although I have to say, if I had held on to that, or maybe let's say I had flipped and I had gone long, and then I'm trading in this and I had gotten, I don't know, I guess I would have gotten out, wouldn't I? But if I was in the treasuries, I would be like at a complete loss as to what to do in this situation. Do you buy it now? Because there's no way that they're going to get through those bids at 30 and 29.5, or are they going to tick down and those are just like not even going to be a thing? That's just like a crazy bid there. And the thing that I find curious about it is that we've seen a lot of buying in the treasury over the past week or so, and I have felt that a lot of it was because of Brexit. And now, because we're hearing all of this stuff about Brexit, you see a bid, because the natural thing would be that they're going to sell back to the low end of the range, right? To where would it be? Where would it be? You know, like back into the 137.16 area. Let's see that picture and this picture here. That is so interesting. It's not the first time we've seen bids like that, but this is the first time that I've seen a bid like that where I can directly correlate it to something that happened, you know? So I'm really interested to see how it turns out. Okay, well, they're heating into it, and it's It's actually stable as they eat into it. So that's not no joke. I guess somebody really does want 15. Oh, what? And then he stacks some at 29? What the fuck? If that ends up being spoofing, that you definitely report that one if that one ends up being spoofing. Oh man. But at the moment at 30 it doesn't look like it's spoofing, right? It looks like they're willing to take it. Is it maybe that people just sold because of they got the headline, maybe the market makers that were kind of going along a little bit sold because of that, and now this guy is holding these bids at 29 because he thinks people went short and he's trying to squeeze them out higher. I don't know. The change, the amount of change in cumulative delta on my chart is obscene. Brexiteers being reassured that the UK has seen off unilateral punishment by the EU if the UK diverges from EU standards in future. The lightning tariffs, they are being told UK has negotiated a joint dispute mechanism that could lead to punishment if one side loses. So they are happy about this. The politicians are coming in. Well, it must be, maybe it's because the politicians were all long on something and their positions weren't doing so well, so they decided to leak something to the press. Is that what just happened there? But then what's going on here in the Treasury? Somebody's obviously not playing along here.
Block by.
There's something else. 7,000? The fuck? Okay, so that might have been somebody just stopping out. Wait, was that a block order? No, it was not. Okay, so holy shit. Okay, so 1900 went through and it stacked on again, and immediately somebody hit 4708 on it. Oh, and 30 half trades through on nothing. Okay, that one might have been that the guy that was long at 30 and really, really wanted it gave up and bought into 30 half, and then he got his thing filled, so he canceled his other orders. That could be possible. So that one's not necessarily like directly a spoof, but now it's all of that liquidity and everything that was on is just gone. And 29 half trades through on 2000. The other possibility could be that they were somebody wanted to get short and they were spoofing and they finally got filled, and so then they canceled their orders. Do you think that was, what do you guys think? Do you think that was a spoof? That was crazy. I mean, we're not like crazy lower, but we did tick down 2 ticks off of that. Okay. So now a decent amount going into 30 as well. So that does seem like that they are market making on the sell side again. And you got enough of like the way the chart looks and the pullback and everything. We could get new lows and it could be a really solid downturn. Well, that could have been, so interest rate puncher says a lot of people calling on Twitter calling block trades. So people might mean different things. Let's look at the CME website to see if there was anything on there. There was a block trade in the 10-year. Okay. So there was a block trade. 8:37 Central Time, which was about 2 hours ago. Okay, the E-mini is still kind of holding that spot. I don't know if they're going to recover on the day or not. The deltas are much more mixed now and kind of sideways. I think that if you were the guy selling, I think maybe you let off a little bit, right? Yeah, the jig had 4708. Yep, that's what I've got as well. 4708. Well, I have two. So there was 1900, and then it was immediately followed by 4708. So two lots hit into that. And I wonder, it may have been a really big robots puking. Certainly would fit, don't you think? De Blasio suggests post-Christmas shutdown needed. NBC New York. Oh, I want to sell that. Let's sell that. Oops, no, I don't want two contracts. Okay, fine. Fine, I'll take two contracts. No, I won't. Never mind. Whatever. Paul McCartney has new music out today? Oh, it is 9:30. You know what? Well, I'm just going to see what happens on that one. I'm just going to let it run in the background, but I got to get going. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.